friends, welcome back into the studio. My name's Kaylee and I paint wet on wet landscape oil paintings. Today I'm going to show you step by step how I paint a big beautiful mountain scene with some reflections and some golden autumn colors. I thought it'd be fun just to do a little bit something different. So here we go. I have tape around the corner here. This is just masking tape for a little border. You can do that if you want to or just leave it out. The liquid white is already on the canvas, so we're ready to go. Here is the list of paints and the little sketch for the painting we are about to do. To start off, I'm going to grab my 2-inch brush and go right into the Phthalo Blue and just tap that into the brush. I like to bring it over to a different spot so I'm not going into the paint itself, and we're just going to distribute it into the bristles a little bit more evenly by tapping or doing some crisscrosses on the palette. Now working from the top down, we're going to do a crisscross pattern. I'm doing a nice and flat one. If you want to do it more of a straight X like this, you can do that. And I'm just going to work this paint down a little bit into the canvas. As we get lower, it's going to be a little bit lighter, so I'm pulling off on the pressure with the brush. And just to even that up, let's add this paint down on the bottom. Just straight across lines, get the paint off the brush, nothing super serious. Now I want to pick up a little bit of Prussian Blue, the same way as the Phthalo Blue, just tap into a little bit, and then we'll distribute it into the bristles. And I just wanted to darken up this corner here a little bit, and a little bit on this side as well. Let's get some of that paint out. Now we'll pick up a clean 2-inch brush and just soften out all of this blue so you don't see any of the brush strokes, and it's just nice and soft. And just all the way across on this lower section, making sure that it's even all the way through. All right. Next, I want to pick up the fan brush and we're going to go into the titanium white and bright red. Just a touch of the bright red. A little more of that. We just want to dull the titanium white. We don't want to use straight white. So the red helps to dull it down a little bit. And we're going to dance in some little clouds and some movements. Pick up a little more paint. Whew, that one's a little brighter than I thought it was going to be. That's all right. Right, I'm just using the fan brush now to kind of tap in a few little features, just some wispy clouds way back there. Just the way they kind of do with in the mountains behind, they'll swirl, and in front they'll move and lift. Just thrown in. Now I'm going to pick up my blending brush that we used earlier, just clean it off a little bit, and we'll soften these clouds just to push them back. a little bit in the sky. Make them feel like they're further away. These ones we can just pull. Maybe give them a little bit of a lift and then a tug. Same thing over here. Lots of pressure here, and just soften out the base of your sky and soften up here very lightly, just kind of mixing this paint up here. All right, I'll leave it like that. I want to add just a tiny bit of blue just over here in this area. I'm just tapping with my dirty brush that I had going earlier, and I'm gonna blend that out by just pulling it. Awesome. I thought we'd just leave the sky kind of simple today and go right into the mountain. We'll spend a little more time on that. Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo Blue, Prussian Blue, Dyke Brown. Pick those up and just mix them around a couple times. And then I want to grab a little bit of that paint and move it over here, and we'll grab some titanium white. Now we've got this nice gray mountain color, gray blue, and we're going to use that to put in some distant mountains here. Just get so I can see my little sketch over there. Just like that. And over on this side, we're going to put one in. These mountains are really far away. You could just see their outline and not too much else. So we just put in the top color. Take your blending brush, tap out the base. Go ahead and lift that to get out the brush strokes, and we'll soften it. Now we're picking up a little bit of paint, that's okay. And over here, tap out the base just the same. I've got a good bit of pressure here. I'm just tapping with the corner of the brush and angling it downward, and the bristles are bending. Get some of that paint out, and then we'll lift. Just blending that to get it nice and soft, and we'll leave those. Pick up your palette knife again, right into the titanium white, and where we are making our cloud color here, this will be our shadow color. And we have the light coming from the left here, so we're going to put the shadows on the right. And we're just dragging that shadow color around, getting it to pull off however it wants. And we'll do the same thing on this other side. Just a little bit of color here on the shadow side. We have a nice thick paint, and it's sticking to this thinner paint that we have softened out with the big brush. That's why we tap it out, so that there's not too much paint. Makes it easier for this layer to stick. Now to do a highlight color, we need to clean off our knife. Go right into the titanium white. And let's pick up a little bit of bright red, just a touch, and Dyke Brown. Or sorry, this is a dark sienna. Dark sienna and bright red on the brush. A little more bright red. That's good. Clean off the brush and then we just get a little roll of paint on the end. And we'll put in our highlights. The highlights are going in on the left side, pulling them in the opposite direction of the shadows that we just put in. These are really far away, so we don't need a lot of details. And also, because they're far away, we do want these to be a little bit lighter. That's why we mixed the titanium white with our base color today. Maybe just a touch more here. And we'll pick up our 2-inch brush again, the blending brush. Make sure it's clean and just tap out the base very lightly and give these mountains a little lift. We just want to get some of the brush strokes out and where you were just tapping with the brush, and then also soften the paint a little bit and just push these mountains back even further. I'm just lifting in the direction that the mountains are going and softening out that paint. Get out these brush strokes. That's it. Now we'll pick up our palette knife again and we'll go right into this really dark mountain color that we didn't mix any titanium white with. Pick out a little roll of paint of that, and we're doing the next mountain range. This bit of the mountain is in front of these ones here, so we want it to be darker so that it stands out more. Also, as objects get closer in view, there's going to be more color that you can pick up from it. So it makes it look more realistic. And we'll just bring that one down. I kind of want this just a little bit bigger here. There we go. And down onto this other side. We've got this nice slope here. I'm going to add a little bit more paint in here into the mountain area. We want this dark color to come down just a little further, so I'm just kind of scratching in some paint, making sure that it's getting into all of the little cracks and crevices of the canvas. A little more over here. Use my 2-inch brush and we're just tapping out the base of the mountain. Get that color to blend with our liquid white that we already have on the canvas. I have to be really careful here. You can see almost that I have a crossbar in my canvas here. So if you tap too hard, you're gonna pick out that little piece of wood. So you gotta be nice and soft when you're next to the support pieces, even down here on the corners where you have wood on the back of the canvas. So just be mindful of that when you're tapping. Now that I got some of the paint out of the brush, I'm just going to lift up the mountain. Give it a good lift on both sides. And just soften out the base all the way across. Get a little bit more here, softened out. I just picked up a bit of that dark paint, so I wanted to get rid of it. And we'll leave that just like that for now. Now this mountain is a little bit closer to us, so it's going to have some more detail. We'll pick up our titanium white that we were using for a highlight, pick up some Van Dyke or some dark sienna, I keep calling it that, and a little more bright red. We want to grab some yellow ochre. And to that, just a little contrast. We don't want it all one color. I'm going to clean off my knife, and we'll start with this all the way on this left-hand side and just start dragging in some highlights. And I'm just putting the tip of the knife up into the corner and allowing the paint to drag off the knife as I move further down the mountain. Be sure to kind of wiggle your hand about. You don't want it to just be one direction. You want to have just kind of a little bit of movement. Just helps to make it look more realistic. And I'll leave that just as that is. I want to pull some of these highlights down into the shadow side just by grabbing a little bit of that paint on the knife. You just kind of push the knife into the highlight side just barely, and you'll get some of that paint to move. And next we will pick up some of our shadow color that we've already created over here. It's just our mountain color and titanium white, and we'll start putting in our shadows on this opposite side. Just picking up paint, and as soon as you run out on your knife, you'll have to go get a little bit more. We want this paint to be nice and thick so that it sticks onto our thinner mountain that we have kind of blended out. Kind of blend this out and up to get that shape. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit more titanium white over here with some yellow ochre. Oop, that was kind of a little more than we needed. Some dark sienna. And I want to add some of this just kind of golden color just onto some of the tops here, just to really make it shine. Next, I want to do just a tiny bit of snow up in here, so I'm going to pick up some titanium white, and it has a little bit of our yellow ochre in there. That's okay, just a little tiny bit of phthalo blue. And now we kind of have like a little bit of a snow color to just pop in here to make it look like we've got kind of like a glacier going on up here. Nice. And I got just a little bit of my shadow color to pull down on this back side just to bring that together. And I'm gonna clean off my knife and grab some of my really bright golden color for our sunshine that's just popping off on this peaks of the mountain. Just a tiny bit here. And I think we need a tiny bit over here. Yeah, nice. Just a little pop. Next, I'm going to pick up some of my dark mountain color and just right in here put in this last kind of range, this forward bit of the mountain here that we have coming down all the way in the front. And next I'm going to pick up my filbert brush, and I just want to go into my dark color here and kind of add in just a little bit of kind of a reflection, just really, really loosely, just an idea with the dark mountain color. And I'm just blending that up now. Very soft. I want it to be nice and dark on this outside bit here, but the rest of it we kind of don't want it to be too perfect or exact like what we have, because then it adds a lot of pressure. And if you just make it nice and loose, it'll actually look more like what you wanted. It's kind of cool. So now we've got a little, I'm just kind of blending this back and forth a little to get some of this color at the base to be blended the way I want it. And I'm just gonna go wipe off my brush and pick up some of our shadow color and pop in some shadow color. This paint is thick, so it should stick. And we're just brushing in some of our blue shadow color. And I want to pick up some titanium white now. This is more of our highlight color. We're just very, very loosely putting in some of the features that are up above here, just to give the idea that it's also down in the water. But if you want to try a lot harder and make it exact, you should, definitely. But I just wanted to give a little bit of an idea. Now I'm going to pick up some of the yellow ochre and titanium white and put some of that yellow ochre in here, some of our sunshine. I'm just grabbing this nice thick paint, and we're just putting some color in ways that is reflections of the top. Just a little bit to give you an idea. Awesome, I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna pick up my blending brush and go right up into the bottom of the mountain and tap out the base, blending the paint that we have on the canvas and softening it. Flip your brush over and tap down at the base of our reflection. Clean out your brush and lift up your mountain. It's a little tricky with your reflection, so be careful. Straight across, very lightly here. I'm gonna lift again And down on this reflection, we're going to start all the way at the bottom and pull up. Wipe out your brush all the way at the bottom and pull up. We're going straight up. We want to keep this line up here that we put in with the dark, so that's why we're starting with our reflection on the opposite. A lot of the time we pull the reflections down. This is a nice easy way to get that all to blend and just to soften up to get it the way we want it. I want to add in a little bit of that glacier color that we put in on the mountain up here, kind of in this area, so I'm just going to pick up some titanium white and a little touch of phthalo blue, nice and thick, and just blob that in here where we have this kind of glacier effect. We'll try and match that a little bit. Take your blending brush, pull up. Isn't that cool? Very simple. Now we'll go straight across, very, very, very lightly. Barely touching that. I want to add a little bit of highlight to this area here, but it's a little bit closer, so what we're going to do is pick up a little sap green. Go right into our mountain shadow color that we made here. A little Dyke Brown, more phthalo blue, and a little bit of titanium white. I'm going to use this color as kind of a shadow color on this back area and just add in little hints of this green down here at the base. And now we'll pick up that similar color. Let's just use that same color actually for right now, and we'll come across and we just want to add in kind of a little hint of green and brown. It was a good year and the grasses are happy. And we want to highlight that with just a little bit of yellow ochre, go right into our sunshine color that we were using before, and just kind of work those two together. A little more, and just highlight with your knife, drag across that top of the green with our highlight color. I'm going to pick up just the touch of our lighter mountain color that we had over here and just work some of that into these areas in between the green just to add a little bit more dimension. And I'm just lightly kind of dragging a little bit of my palette knife through there, and we're going to blend it out. Tapping in the same direction as you want that hill to go. We're just tapping out the base. Gonna clean out the brush a little bit and lift that up. Softly, just blending out all of those brush strokes. Awesome. I want to add a little bit more dark color over here. So I just picked up my dark mountain color, and I'm just going to add a touch more, barely in some areas where I just think that we will have a little bit more shadow. Tap that out with your brush and give it a lift. Now I'm just tapping with my brush some of this extra paint, And we're just moving that around, adding in some depth and texture. And let's use that brush. We should have a little bit of our paint still left. I'm actually picking up a tiny bit of the green mixture, and I want to just add some of these features just really lightly down in this reflection area. Get some of that paint out and lift. Down here on our reflection, I need to wipe off my brush and lift. Go across just to soften that out. Nice. Okay, we're moving forward in our piece here. Let's pick up our dark mountain color on a 1-inch brush. That dark mountain color is Alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, Phthalo Blue, Prussian Blue, Dyke Brown. Let's go into our lighter mountain color and just lighten it just a tiny bit. There we go. And I want to, with that brush nicely loaded, I'm going to tap in another hill that's further out here in the front. And I'm just tapping the brush and moving in the direction that I want the land to kind of go. A little bit more paint here. And on this side, we'll kind of bring that together here. Next, I want to add some highlights onto there. We want to stick with this kind of golden hour. So we'll go into our green mixture and then pick up some yellow ochre and some Indian yellow. Just tap that right into the brush. And we'll highlight some areas. Looks like we need a little bit of liquid white to thin that out. So we'll get some liquid white. And just thin out your color. We're working with yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and maybe just a touch of bright red. Ooh, I like that. Tap into the brush. And we're just going to highlight some of the tops. Where the sun might just be touching on it. We have it over here on this left-hand side. Bright red, Indian yellow, just highlighting, touching where we think that color is going to be. I wanted this to be kind of autumny colors, so we're going with the reds and yellows, but if you want to leave yours more green, you can do that. Just varying the colors up. And just right over here, I want to add a touch of getting some liquid white so it's a little bit brighter. Just really want to have the sun just popping on the top there. Here. And right over here. Maybe right there. And And I'm gonna pick up my 1-inch brush and just soften some of this out. Just really lightly give them a tap and kind of blend just a little bit. And before we forget, let's add just a touch of this right down in here. This time we're going to pull down. And we'll go straight across. Now we want to put a little bit of land under this area, so we'll go right into our dark mixture here. Let's just clean it up into a pile. We have Dyke Brown, Alizarin Crimson, Sap Green, Phthalo Blue, and Prussian Blue. Mix that up nicely. And cut off a little roll. And we'll just put in some flat land over here. Nice long strokes, just kind of like a sandbar right at the bottom. Out here, pull that straight out. And we'll pick up some titanium white. Well, we have some of our highlight color right over here. I want to add some dark sienna to that. And cut off a little roll. And we'll just highlight the top by just pulling across some of that color. Right on this side, do the same thing. Using my 2-inch brush, I'm just going to pull down a tiny bit of this sand just to make it all come together. Clean out the brush, and let's go across, straight across. Put in some reflections. Nice. Then we'll pick up our palette knife. We need a little bit of liquid white into titanium white and phthalo blue. We just want to thin down a mixture. Cut off a little roll of that. And we'll put in some water. I'm pushing firmly with the knife, dragging it to the left because I'm right-handed. This is usually easier. If you're left-handed, it might be a little bit more challenging, but give it a try. Just pulling this paint out, and we'll put in a few water lines over here. And I think a little bit of water movement over here. Kind of like maybe the wind is blowing across the top of the water, just moving it along, and the reflection isn't quite as clear here because it's just really blowing. Okay, next I'm going to pick up the fan brush, give it a good wipe off. We'll go right into our dark mixture, pick up some more paint if you need it. We're just keeping with our dark colors and pick up a little bit of our dark sienna this time. Get a good bit of that into the fan brush. And right over here, we're going to work in kind of these a nice little stand of trees. just right out here in front. Not all the way, we don't want to cover up our whole reflection. So we'll just work to there, bring it down a little bit more. And let's pop a reflection into the water. Just like that. I'm going to wipe off the brush and pick up some liquid white on it and go right into our really bright yellows. Pick up some bright red. And we're going to tap this color with the corner of the brush on the left-hand side of the trees. Just in a few spots, getting a little bit of highlight where the sun is just popping on these pine trees out here, giving them a little touch. Got kind of a bright spot there. A little more than I was planning, but that's okay. Softer as it gets further down. Maybe just a touch of this color kind of down into the water to bring them together just a little bit. Let's take the 1-inch brush and pull down our reflection. Go straight across. I want to put in just a few kind of trunks in here. So we'll use the palette knife, pick up some liquid white, go into whatever your highlight color. I'm gonna pick up some yellow ochre, titanium white, dark sienna. And just want like kind of a thin mixture here. Just get it on your knife and give it some good scrape-ins over here. And just hitting the canvas with the knife, allowing these to scrape off. And then we're going to take our 2-inch brush and lift all the way up softly, very lightly. And we'll go across on our reflections here. Pick up your palette knife into our dark mixture to put some land out here. Pick up a little bit more of that paint and work this in. This is a little bit more in the shadow, so I'm going to pick up some of our dark color here and add a little crimson. So it's kind of like a golden color, but it's just a bit darker. So it's kind of reflecting some of the tree color, but we're not going as light as this highlight out here. Alizarin Crimson, bright red, yellow ochre, a little bit of titanium white. I'm just going to pop some of this color down into the water. And I'm going to take my 2-inch brush again. This time I want to wipe out a little bit of this paint. And I'm just going to pull down a touch of this dark rock here. Go across to put in our reflections straight across. Creates the water line. Oh, I'm all over the place there. Then we'll do our water line again, which is just our titanium white, liquid white, and phthalo blue. Cut across that little roll right out on the end. You just drag the knife across and the paint will pull right off. A little more out here. Last, we're going to put in some really beautiful bright trees up in this foreground area. So to do that, I'm going to pick up my brush and go right into the bright red and alizarin crimson and dark sienna. Bright red, alizarin crimson, dark sienna. Pick up some sap green. We want a brown color here. brownish red. And I'm going to use the 2-inch brush and tap in a few trees. Oh, I have some highlight color left on there, I guess. That's okay. Let's pick out a few more of these kind of pointy pine trees or something. Maybe over here. Some right here. And if you want to leave this as like all of this as reflection area or add a different area of land, you should totally do that. I just thought it would be really cool to add in like you're looking out, kind of like you're up on a bank looking out and across, seeing this scene. So these are the trees as you're looking down and out that you might see. But like I said, if you don't want to have them, you definitely don't need to put them in. You can do whatever you want. I'm just using that same color. I'm going to turn the brush around and just push out some different kinds of trees here. I want some variety. And I'm actually going to darken up the color a little bit by adding some Dyke Brown. We still are using our bright red, Alizarin Crimson, with the Sap Brown, or the Sap Green and the Dyke Brown. That's just going to darken the color even more, so we can have some variety down here. Maybe one right here. And what the heck, let's pick up the fan brush and put in a few with that. But in order to do it, I need to pile up all my paint. So I'm just going to scrape out all the paints that I'm using right now and put them into a nice pile. We'll use the fan brush, load it up nice and thick, and pop in a couple more trees. I'm just tapping up with the fan brush right now, using the corner of it to add in some pine looking trees. Maybe one right here in the front. And now we want to add some tree trunks with some titanium white. Let's go right into this mixture. And we'll just mix up kind of like a brown color, get a little bit of bright red in there. And we'll just pop in a few trunks where we think they might be. I'm going to pick up a little bit of a darker color and put some of these darker ones in. Maybe add in some more just by pushing the knife up. Makes it look like you're doing a lot more, but it's just a little bit of detail here and there. That adds up in the end. Next, we'll add some highlights onto these trees. I'm just going to clean out some of this dark mixture that we have of my 1-inch brush. I'm picking up a little bit more Indian yellow since I ran out. And I'm going to dip my 1-inch brush into the liquid white, come over here onto the palette, and just the Indian yellow first. Tap into the Indian yellow so we get a good bit of paint right up on the top. And I'm going to highlight just a few of these trees that are out here on the right side where the sun is shining. And I'm just going to pick out a few here and there and here. And just put in some tops of these trees that are just far, far down the hill. More bright red. And I want to thin it out. I really, really want this paint to stick. I don't want to try too hard and make it have to work too hard. Right into the bright red. I want kind of an orange, peachy color here, but really bright. Just going for it. I want some bright autumn colors. So we're just tapping in a little bit of this red, some Indian yellow, and make sure to vary it up. And we'll pick up our fan brush and highlight our pine trees just a little bit. Fan brush, same old dirty fan brush that we were using into the Indian yellow. And just give these trees a pop of bright color. Just a touch on the top, like the sun is just popping on golden hour and you're just out here at the perfect time looking at all these perfect, beautiful, bright colors and just having a good time. Having a good old time. A little bit more paint. I need to highlight this here. And I think a little more up here. I need a little more liquid white just to kind of open up that brush a little bit. We'll tap down, tap up here, maybe a few, just variety. Really want to make sure that these tops are bright. I just want to kind of soften this one up over here. Kind of got away from me. There we go. I'm going to scrape in just a few little sticks and twigs, some branches maybe, where we think they might be. And I'm thinking I just want to add a little bit, kind of clean up the shore over here and add a little bit of color. I have some of that highlight color on my fan brush and I'm just going to add in a few pops just right at the base of these trees up here, and just to kind of bring that together a little bit more. I really like that. I'm actually going to give it a sign. I am using my brush wash here again. If you forgot that recipe and need it again, you can find the link up in here. Be sure to give it a click and give it a view, comment if you like it, if you've tried it. It definitely adds a little bit of time to clean up, but it's not as stinky and I don't get as itchy throat. So give it a try and let me know. You don't have to use it, but that's just what I do. And it's not like a secret or anything, so the recipe, you can go have it and use it. I'm going to sign this. I've got so much red down here. I'm trying to pick a spot where it might stand out. I think I'm just gonna go right here. My paint's nice and thin today, so it's sticking. And I just sign my paintings with my initials. You can sign it however you want. We have one final step. I'm going to get all these things out of my way so I don't make too much of a mess. Clean off my hands. And we'll see how the border looks. I'm kind of nervous, so we'll see how it looks. Ah. Okay. Missed a spot. There. Wow, that turned out pretty cool. I like it. What do you think? Thank you so much for joining me today for tutorial number 10. I had a blast painting this. I really hope you give it a try. I'm just so excited about the way it looks. As soon as I pulled that tape off, I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, let me know if you give it a try. Kaylee at KayleeRakowski.com. I would love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments below as well. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you'd like to donate to me to help me continue to give you awesome tutorial videos, you can check out my PayPal. I'll put the link below and you can just donate directly to me. I really appreciate that. Brian, you've been donating a bunch. I'm really close to purchasing a brand new easel. Hopefully I won't have to hold it while it wiggles around, but we're really, really close to that price point. So I'm really thankful for all of you for being here, for your support. Every view, every comment, every share, that all counts and it all helps me out. So thank you so much. Smile and be happy, friends.